the lower the odds, which basically means that your bet should win, that's right down here, then the lower your amount that you bet, the more success you need to break even. For example, if you say, okay, well, let me bet lower, maybe instead of making a $50 bet, I'm going to make $20 bets, or maybe even $10 bets. Well, and then the lower the amount you bet and the lower the odds, which means that you should theoretically win, you think, well, that's great, but your loss will punish you that much more. So if you're going to win, say, 1.5, so if you're going to win 5 on a $20 bet, that means that a $20 loss means you would have to win 4 times in a row just to recover the loss. So that's kind of crazy. So the lower the amount you bet and the lower the odds, then the greater your success ratio has to be if you're ever going to make $1. So the bottom line is, if you're going to do this long term, find out your success ratio, find out what you're good at, don't bet what you don't know. I'll give you another quick example. A friend of mine was betting on round robin tennis, and the problem with round robin tennis is even if a player loses, they still keep playing, so their motivation level is not there. So if you're betting on individual sports, I highly recommend just to bet on the major tournaments, because the best players are going to make the best effort, and at least that will increase your probability of success. And I had this crazy idea, and it's crazy, but I mean, this is the kind of world we live in. If a player is going to go to a tournament, and if the winnings are not great, but for example the winnings at the following week happen to be greater, do you really think they're going to make the best effort that week? Or maybe they may even be willing to lose that week. Maybe they're being paid appearance money to even show up, and a lot of the top players are. I've come across this many times in the paper. So therefore they show up, they get their money, they lose quick and say bye-bye. Well, maybe their trainer happens to know that they're planning. And so if I'm the trainer, I'm thinking, gee, you know, this might be a pretty reasonable bet because the odds might be 5-1 against the other player. And there's been some instances in tennis where this has happened. It's a difficult thing to prove, but I mean, this is the world that we live in, so you have to bear this in mind. Okay, what I did in this file right here, the title sort of says it all. How many bets do you have to make to wipe out your capital? And let's work on the premise that you're going to make a 10-bet cycle, $20 bet, 1.7 are the odds that you're looking at, and if you win 5, lose 5, we'll just go through this whole thing and you'll be able to see what I'm referring to. Make 10 bets, bet 20 bucks, 1.7 odds, so the possible payout $14 when you win, so 14 times 5 over the 5 winning bets, you make $70. But then you lose 5. Now the problem is 5 times 20 is 100. You've now lost 30 bucks. So 100 minus 30, your account is now down to 70. So you lost a total of $30 after 10 bets. So each $10 bet basically reduced your account by $3. 33 bets later, your account will be 0. And it probably happened before that, but I mean that's just the rationale. Now here's the issue. You win 5, you lose 5. Well, what would happen if you were to lose 5 before you won the first one? You would have no money left if you were basing it on the premise of $100. You can see the house wins. Do not get into a fight with gravity, which is the betting company. In all probability, over time will win. And I would imagine casinos is not really a whole lot different when you look at the internal structure of the mathematics and how they figure things out in their favor. Okay, if you're going to be doing this and you want to be able to keep some kind of statistics, what the logic of this part here was, I would like to keep statistics for maybe 50 or 100 bets if the amount in the account lasts that long. Even though my winning ratio is very high right now, that doesn't mean anything. What I did is I broke it down into the areas that I might place a bet on. And I'm keeping a record of, for example, on football, I made 1 bet, I won, so I'm 100%. In hockey, I made 4, I won 3. Actually, that should be 1. I was just experimenting with that last night because I won the Pittsburgh over what team did they play? The Islanders in a shootout, and I lost Toronto over Montreal. Betting against Toronto, I think Maple Leaf Hockey is going to turn out to be quite good over time this year because their team is reorganizing. They're off to a little bit of a good start, but wait until we get into the dog days, and I think gravity will revert back to the mean. So hockey 3 out of 4, politics 4 out of 4. Down here I haven't made any, and that's why this shows up as kind of a nothing. What I'm trying to find out is, and you should too, what areas are you really good at? And if it turns out, for example, that somebody makes 10 bets on hockey and you win 3, well, excuse me, stop betting on hockey. So that's the idea of this, and over time I think it'll prove to be quite beneficial to you just to have an idea where your area of expertise is and focus on that area. Now, there's a company called Party Bets that my friend had recommended I set up the account with. And they have a thing, it's an enticement, and it's called a no-lose bet. Now, let me just make it real simple, and if you want to go there and try and figure it out, well, you can. You bet $20 on a hockey game. If you lose, they give you the $20 back, and you think, wow, no-lose bet, hoo-yah. Well, the $20 goes into an account called restricted. So let's assume that you had $100 in your account, you bet 20 on a hockey game, you lose, the $20 goes into a restricted account. Now, what do you have to do to get that money out of restricted and back into your regular account? You have to bet 5 times that amount on a risk of 2.0 or higher, which means that the probability is you're going to lose. So if you have 20 in restricted, to make it simple, you have to bet $100 to get the money out of the restricted and back into your regular account, and you have 20 days to do this, so the clock is ticking. So I came up with this. This is very complicated math involved here, but here was the idea, that you're going to bet both sides on a game that you feel you have a little bit of knowledge about. And of course, if you don't have knowledge, don't bet, because that's just, why don't you just throw the money off a balcony and see who catches it? At least you'll see somebody go to the store and buy an ice cream. Or better still, just take them to the store. So I came up with this idea, and I've done this. Here's the idea, that if money goes into restricted, you want to get that money out fast. And preferably, you can do it on one bet. The idea is, you have one team that you think Team B will win. And remember, you have to bet on the Team A to be the winner, but you're making an insurance bet so that, remember, you're not trying to win the bet. Here's the idea. You have $20 in restricted. In 20 days, the $20 is gone. They'll keep it. So I had a phone call, so I had to take that. So just to repeat, you have $20 in restricted. You know in 20 days they're going to keep it. Would you be willing to lose 5 to recover the 20, so then you would have 15 become real money again? Because if you have 80 in real and 20 in restricted, in 20 days you're then going to have 80 in real and 0 restricted, so you've lost your 20 bucks. So I came up with this idea. Even though over time it's just stupid, because the whole odds of this betting is you're going to lose. Whatever money you put in there, the odds are very much in favor of the company. They're going to take all of your money over time.